Denise.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. Since I was so embarrassed I did that the other day.
Hey, no biggie.
I'm in a hotel room. We're in Illinois. My husband's hunting, so I'm hanging
Oh, wow.
out.
You know, I love those pictures you posted. When was that? When you were like looking out a window and like hunting from a window? Where was that?
Behind our house. That's my tree stand.
That's awesome. It looks like you're like in a cabin, like by the fire, just watching for deer.
We call it my condo.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Peter, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some water, okay? I'll be right back. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to see all y'all. It has been a long time since I've seen some of you guys. Someone's car door is dinging on us. That's me. Hi, Rhonda. I love your little still picture. Erin, hey girl. Here, you're up there in Kansas killing your business. That's crazy awesome. Well played. Am I recording? Yes, I am, Rachie. I am. My account automatically starts recording with every Zoom that I do now. I have it set that way. So if y'all have your own Zooms, it's a really good idea to set it that way because then you never have to remember to hit record and you can edit. So, okay. Oh, sweet Jessica Holly. Hey, sweet friend. See your face. Okay, let me see. Okay, Genevieve, are you on yet? I'm seeing if she is on. I'm chatting with her, but I'm not seeing her little face. Okay. Oh, there she is. There she is. Hey. Let me see if I can hear you. I can't hear you.
How's that?
There you go. Fabulous.
Excellent. Hang on. I just have to check behind me.
What are you looking for?
I have to make sure I don't have anything written on my whiteboard.
Oh. It's just like Roz is an idiot on your whiteboard, and you're like, dang.
No, I meant spilling the beans. You know, it's like.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, usually like that's where we do our brainstorming and stuff. So I just want to make sure that.
You're so good. You're so good. Well, let me introduce you to my team. Okay, so Genevieve, her name is said a million different ways. So Genevieve, tell me how everyone says your name normally, so I'm saying it right. Because I say it's Genevieve, which is the French way.
Yes.
But tell me how we should say your name.
That's fine. Honestly, it's 3 syllables. I usually tell people you can say Genevieve. Some people say Genevieve, and that's actually also correct. And then you can, if you've taken French in school, there's like another syllable that you can toss in there. And it is just the French version of Genevieve. So I just, I answer to anything that sounds remotely French.
So see that, y'all, you can say her name anyway, and she doesn't get offended. She's totally cool. So let me introduce you, Genevieve, to everybody. Y'all, this is Genevieve. She's Plexus's new director of ambassador training. And I had the opportunity to meet her when I was at corporate working on a 2.0 training. I adore her. As you guys all got to hear her from stage during Super Saturday, she was part of the live portion during the intro. And she shared some with us. And it's really great because she comes to the game with network marketing experience, but she does not have Plexus experience or comes with Plexus experience, which I like because I like people in the industry coming with fresh thoughts, fresh terminology, fresh outlooks, and to show it and kind of talk to us a little bit about the way it looks in network marketing across the board. And also for her to tell all of us how great we really have it, because we really, really do. And I've visited with her on a couple little topics that I would love for her just to share. She's going to start off just sharing her story. She's going to talk for about 45 minutes. And so we should all be off this call by noon. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the floor and pass it over to our star guest. And y'all, this is Genevieve.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I am experiencing technical difficulties over here. I can't see you anymore. So if you are doing anything that requires my attention, you're going to have to let me know. I am now flying blind. I don't know what happened to my computer. It's now gone into sleep mode. But that doesn't matter because I'll just talk. I am definitely super excited to be a part of Plexus. I love love direct selling. I'll tell you very quickly a little bit about how I got in. I actually had my own learning and development. I'm sorry, I need to set my timer so that I don't go over. Okay. I started my journey very much like many of you have started your journey. I had a training company of my own. I had a staff. We were in a Class 8 building. I was making decent money. So, you know, everybody around and their sister that was like, oh, you can make more money. I'm like, I'm good. And they're like, oh, you could love what you do. I'm like, I'm good. And I was like, I would never have considered myself a person, since it's just us here. I would never have considered myself a person who would have taken a step in network marketing at all. And I was the woman that avoided the other network marketing women in all of my business meetings. And what had happened was, after the birth of my 4th child, I was actually hospitalized for an additional 10 days because of an infection. And I was the working parent in my house. My husband stayed home and homeschooled our children. And, you know, he was going back and forth from the hospital, you know, bringing our newborn baby back and forth to get nursed, and our neighbors were cooking dinner and, you know, watching our kids. And it was just a really crazy time. And I'm trying, you know, to focus on what I should have been focusing on, which was my health. And I wasn't. I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, we're not making money right now because I'm actually not billable. And when they said, hey, you're going to be in the hospital for 10 days, I just about lost it, and for all the wrong reasons. And I said to myself at that point, he's going to have to go get a job because this is too stressful. Long story short, he did not go get a job. I started in a network marketing company, dabbling as a preferred customer because I wanted products at a discount. My girlfriend was sharing products left and right with people and having me sign them up because I had the account. And then we both decided together, you know, we were going to give it a shot. And I was horrible for like the first 6 months because I am a good salesperson. So I thought, I will just sell my way to the top of this company. I'm not going to enroll anyone. I'm not going to ask my friends and family to do this. I didn't get it at all. And I went to a training, a local training, and I literally didn't even dress up, y'all. Like, I went in like my yoga clothes because I thought, how serious can these women really be, right? Because I didn't really get it. And I was so underdressed. I was so embarrassed. And I saw all these really smart women who were like having a lot more fun and making a lot more money than I was making in less time. And so that was when I decided that I would get serious. And so in about, I would say, you know, 12 months after that, I had replaced my 6-figure income. I never stopped working because I loved what I did. But I got to fire some customers, and that is far better. That is far better than quitting your job, is getting to do the things you love with the people that you actually love working with. So I created almost a $2 million a year business. It wasn't huge, but you all know that's actually more than most people will ever make in direct selling. But I went on a mission, because the thing that bothered me the most was everyone around me was recruiting people in a way that would never, ever, ever even tap into my circle of influence, which bothered me because I felt like, oh my gosh, I got to save all my girlfriends. Like, nobody knows. Nobody knows that there's this whole underground movement of women who are having more fun, making like gangster money doing it. And we're all out playing like the man's game, working really hard in this space that doesn't allow us to work our priorities. And so I just went on a personal mission to try to educate the women that I worked with that, like, you can't attract professional women that way. There are a lot, like, yes, people need a few $100. There's a huge group of people that need a few $100 a month. But there's another whole group of women that are like crying on the inside when they bring their babies to daycare, or they're sitting in a meeting when they'd rather be at that dance recital. And so I just started telling everybody I knew. I was like, I just led with the business because I felt like people needed saving. And So I went from, I had a great business, and I can tell you in a little bit exactly where it went off the rails, because inevitably people always ask me, well, if you had such a great business, why did you stop? So I can tell you my learnings on that. But I had a business for several years. We had a great time. It was fantastic. And then I got a call from a recruiter one day who said, hey, our company is actually looking for someone with learning and development experience to work in our home office. And that was when I was like, oh, because the company I was with didn't have that. And I was like, this is great. So that started off my career working for companies whose names that you would absolutely know. And I've done big companies, large companies, startups, Silicon Valley startup, direct selling companies. And I really am very passionate about it. Now, I got into Plexus, honestly, because I was driving by. And I had one friend out of all of my friends, one friend who a long time ago tried to do Plexus. And I remembered seeing the name, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's a direct selling company like right across the street from my house. And we're all friends, right? I may or may not have circled the building in prayer, hoping that I would get a job here. I was like, this company is like doing all of the right things. It absolutely positively is doing all of the right things. I looked up the ratings online. I looked up ratings in the industry. I started asking people, and I honestly thought to myself, they're really doing this right. Like, they are really, really, really doing this right. And I know when you've been in a while, sometimes you're like, well, it may not be perfect, and things that we've been through a lot, and you have. I know you have. But can I tell y'all something? I have been around the block. I have been to many direct selling companies. On its worst day, Plexus is still the best place to be compared to other companies' best days. And I am not exaggerating. The care that I saw in this company, the leaders who work here, and the constant direction that we get to ensure that we are aligned with what you all need, I have never seen that anywhere. And it was 100% part of what attracted me to this business and this company. So I sit here in this role knowing that I am new to Plexus, but you all have such smart leaders. You are smart leaders, and people have been very helpful in telling me. And I will tell you, probably not a week goes by that I don't tell Janice, I just am telling you, if I can find something to do for 6 months, I'm out. And then I'm coming back in the field. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm like, could I pump gas for 6 months? We've got like the 6-month period where we can't actually do Plexus. We have to leave, and I'm plotting. That is how much I really feel like this is a great opportunity. And I want to tell everybody I know personally about it. So that's a little bit about me. I want you to know that you guys are the backbone of this company. You guys are definitely what took this company to its current state, which is this anomaly, honestly. Like, people don't understand how Plexus grew to this size. Most direct selling companies do not grow this fast in one market in such a small number of states. The opportunity is so huge. When we talk to people in our industry, people are watching our company and they're asking us, what are y'all doing over there? And we're like, it's actually not us. We just have this great field, and they're very passionate about what they've got, and they're sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing. So now is the time for our company. So what happens in direct selling companies is, if you're lucky, you have a fraction of the growth we have based on product. If you're lucky in other companies, we have had amazing products that when somebody shares, people have great results. You guys know that, right? Well, the fish at that point in time were jumping in the boat, right? They're jumping in the boat, And everybody's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is great. Pull your boat in. Get your boat. Get your boat. Get in. Everybody's like getting in because the fish are jumping in the boat, right? And as the fish are jumping in the boat, things are happening so fast. All you can do is keep collecting those fish, right?
It's 10:15.
It's 10:15, in case you wondered. And so where we're at now is just a place where now we have to actually learn how to fish, because the fish aren't just jumping in the boat anymore, right? We have to learn how to get the fish to come up to the surface. We've got to learn how to cast and reel, and we have to really learn how to fish and enjoy the process, which is 100% what Super Saturday was all about. Super Saturday was 100% about let's teach people how to fish. And if any of you are fishers, you know that fishing is called fishing and it's not called catching. And people just love the process of fishing. And that's really where our opportunity is to help people authentically share every single day in a way that they love doing regardless of the outcome. So one of the mistakes we see people make from a behavioral science standpoint is they put their attention on things they cannot control. And one of the things you cannot control is whether people are going to say yes or not. You just can't control that. So if the goal is always, hey, get X amount of customers, right? If that's your day-to-day goal, X amount of customers, and you can't really control how many customers you get, you kind of set people up for failure because you can't control that. What you can control is the activity that leads to the outcome, right? So we do want ambassadors, we do want new people coming in the business, but you can't actually, that should be a direction. The process and the parts of the process that we can control, those become the things that we want to quantify, we want to measure, we want to reward, we want people being excited about doing all of those little things. So that's really what Super Saturday was about. And we hope you guys got on the calls. We hope you had your questions answered. But this is really a great time to be in Plexus, y'all, because it is one of those things that when you actually make it works hard. It works hard. And this system will work exponentially if we become a process-driven company. When people come in, we teach them the process. When they bring other people in, it's like, don't worry, we have a process, just follow the process. That's how you create exponential growth. It's about those new people coming in and in a very short amount of time being able to go ahead and to start sharing right away. I got a text last night from Janice Jackson, our president of the company, and she said, you know what? My daughter and her boyfriend were out around town, and her daughter came to Super Saturday because she works for a company. And she said, somebody asked her about Plexus. And she said, well, I'm really new, but if you have 3 to 5 minutes, I'll send you a video. And she sent the bartender right there at the bar a video. And that's exactly, we want people who absolutely right away know how to share Plexus. So I can't see anything. I hope you're still there. Any questions about anything? I just want to check in since I can't see y'all.
Oh, no, we're all good. We are all taking feverish notes and loving this.
Good. Okay. I literally am just seeing that screensaver blob. So.
Oh, are you really? Oh, no, we are hanging on to every word.
All right, good. All right, excellent. So can I share some things with you guys about how I have seen people create momentum? Would y'all be interested in that? Because there are some basics that I feel like I would love to share with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. Now, I always share, and I make people take an oath first. So you have to be ready for the oath. So sometimes when you have to do something different, you have to be open. We use this word coachable a lot, like, hey, you've got to be coachable. And the problem with being coachable is it means you have to open yourself up to a change in your thinking. And the way your mind is set up is it always wants to make you right about everything you do, even the things that you do that do not bring you where you want to go. That makes sense? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? So your brain is actually wired to keep you doing the things you are doing because it wants you to always feel right about what your decisions are, even if those decisions don't bring you closer to your goals. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the thing that makes that interesting is that sometimes you may hear the things you need to know, but be unreceptive to them because your brain tells you, don't do that, because that will hurt your feelings. And I am here. Part of your brain is there to ensure that your feelings do not get hurt, okay? So I want to share with you openly, with your permission, some things that I know. You can take it, you can leave it. But I really believe that if you embrace some of these things, you will absolutely have more success in your business, even more than you have. But the best analogy I have is like giving your kid a shot, right? We inoculate our children with a shot, and we do it, we give them a little bit of an owie so that they're protected long term, right? And they all know that. When you bring them, like, we're getting shots today, and what do? When they get a shot, we just tell them, rub their arm, and we look at them and we're like, you're gonna be okay. This is for your own good. This is for your own protection. So I want to get your permission to, talk to you openly and do a little inoculating. And if you hear something that you're like, ouch, that hurt, I just want you to rub your arm. Just rub your arm. And if you happen to be with someone else, you just say, you're going to be okay, girl. You're going to be okay.
This team loves tough love, so bring it.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that you want to embrace wholeheartedly is how to stabilize your check. So one of the things that I hear a lot is like, people are like, oh my gosh, our checks. And I'm like, okay, there's definitely best practices for stabilizing your check. And here it is. If you want more zeros on your check, right? Who doesn't want more zeros on their check? Think about the width of your check being a representation of the width of your business. So more zeros represents more leaders on your team. Every zero on your team should represent a leg in your business. So if you want more, like if your check's like this big and you want your check to be this big, then you need to add more leaders in your first line. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. One is because people come and go. It's just part of the business. This is a volunteer business. And at some point, your best leader might decide they're going somewhere else. And you cannot control that. So you always want to protect your business by ensuring that you are in the business. As a matter of fact, I love leadership as a topic. I've studied John Maxwell. I study a lot of the great leaders. They're all really good. The one thing that none of them talk about is direct sales leadership. And direct sales leadership, there's one thing that is so important when you're a leader in direct sales, and that is promoting the ranks of leadership. Like literally promoting it as if it were a product to buy. Oh my gosh, you're going to want to be this. Oh my gosh, wait until you're a leader. Oh my gosh, if you're having fun now, you should take a first step into leadership. Part of what you want to be promoting on an ongoing basis is leadership, 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 leadership. So leaders promote leadership. Leaders identify people who are high potentials for leadership. And then you are always coaching to the next level, right? So I made a huge transition in my business when I stopped just talking to people. Woo, that was draining. Just talking to people, and sometimes talking to people turns into convincing people. When you coach people, you want to be coaching them within a period of time to do something specific. So you might say, you know what? I'm totally excited about coaching you for the next 90 days. If you are ready to get to gold. If you are ready to get to senior gold, right? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? So there is an actual target that we're shooting for, and we're going to use the system to get you there, but we're not just going to keep talking endlessly. Like, I like to get stuff done, and every type A, every rock star, every go-getter that you're looking for, they want to be winning. And so you've got to set up what winning looks like for those sorts of people. So you always want to be adding new leaders. And I know that we say, oh my gosh, you should be doing Me+3 every month. And you should be, right? You should be doing it, and you should be teaching your new leaders to do it. But honestly and truly, the people that I know that have made the most money in direct selling have like 10 to 12 high-level leaders, like top-level leaders, direct to them in their business. So when we talk about this being residual income, my friends, I think we all know there's no such thing as you just do this and then you just go to the beach, right? The good news is you can work it from the beach. The good news is you can work it from the park. The good news is you should be able to work this in a condensed amount of time, but you really can't set this business down until you have bulletproofed it, and that means that you've got lots of leaders at the highest rank direct to you. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the longevity of that check is based on your depth. So you have to be duplicating and duplicating and duplicating to ensure that those digits stay. And that is where you are teaching people how to get to their next level. I'm going to teach you, and then I'm going to mentor you how to train your folks on how to get to their next level. So I taught you Me+3. Now I'm going to watch you, and I'm going to coach you do them+3. Those two things alone are enough to drive anybody all the way up this company if they just simply every month counted how many people they taught Me+3 and how many people they taught them+3. It is the duplication, and it is all of those levels. So for every one of your digits, you want as much depth underneath them as possible. Does that make sense, y'all?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that you want to do. The other thing is you want to track trends, and not so much your month to month. So one of the things that I totally recommend is that sorry, I'm just looking at my timer, is that you start tracking your points, the number of folks that you're bringing in, but on a month-to-month basis so that you can see a trend. Because what happens is this business works in cycles. And if you think from one month to the next, well, my numbers went down, so something must be wrong, but you're not looking at them from an overall standpoint, right? So for example, a trend is just like, where did I start and where am I going? So if this is where I started and this is where I ended, right? That is a steep upward trend. But in between there will be a lot of these going on. And what happens is every time somebody drops, they panic. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't look at your numbers and analyze and make sure you're on the right track. But if you are on a trend moving forward toward where you want to go, that's the best possible business. It's very rare that you're going to every single month, it's going to get better every single month. There are going to be months, especially in this business, where people it's not a heavy working month. You will make up for it in the coming months if you just commit to your system and you were watching the trend. So if the trend is overall headed down, then you need to have a conversation about that. But if you have one bad month, you don't really have to freak out about it. You want to go back to last year and the year before and see like, well, what did all of my Januaries look like? Because you may actually be ahead from the previous year and the year before, but not from the previous month. Does that make sense? That's a little geeky, but does that make sense?
Yes, that sure does.
Yeah. So make sure that you are listen, if you don't know how to graph your numbers, ask one of your coaches to help you. Just tell them, I'd love to see this graphed out over the last 12 months, and just look at your trends. And I'm happy to help anybody who needs help with that. I'm trying to think, what else did I want to tell you? Oh, you guys, goals. So goals set direction.
It's 10:30.
Sorry. Goals set, that's my reminder. Goals set direction. Processes create success. Processes create success. So one of the reasons you see us focusing less on get to silver, even though that's really important, getting to silver is really important. The problem is, psychologically, it's a destination. We never want silver to be a destination. And when we focus really hard on going silver rather than following a process, people get there and then they're kind of like, great, I have arrived. And then they stop working any process because we didn't teach a process. We taught them, sign up 3 people, and they did that. And then they got to silver. And then it's like, then what? That I got to silver, then what? And we didn't really teach them basic processes. If we teach people, hey, you want to get 3 no's a day, you want to send those videos out as many times as you can in the day, maybe 5 to 10 times a day based on your goals. And when you get 3 ambassadors to enroll, and you will actually start to make some increased money. Once they get to silver, we've started to create some patterns for them. We've started to create some habits for them. So the day after they become silver, they're still doing the same things they did to get them to silver. And then they continue to do those things. And here's the really interesting thing. There is a fantastic book, if you're looking for something to read or listen to, it's called Atomic Habits. And they talk in that book about how important habits are to lighten the psychological workload. To me, that was huge. Lighten the psychological workload. So if we get to a place in our business where we're like, this is so hard, I'm working so much, that to me is a signal that we have not established the right habits. Because y'all, we do so much habitually before we even drive our kids to school. And if we actually had to think about all those things, we would be tired before we got to our car. So you might get up in the morning, you might make your bed, you might take a shower, you might put on your makeup, you might brush your teeth, and then you might, right? And then you get dressed. All of those things happen habitually and they're on autopilot because your brain is designed to help you do things in the most simple and efficient way possible to free up your brain to do the other things, right? So if we don't have systems and we don't have habits in our business, the brain never gets a chance to take over unconsciously. You want to unconsciously be sitting down to work. You want to unconsciously be noticing people in your environment that need help. You want to unconsciously be doing your 3 no's a day, and then it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much I have to remember to do. So systems actually help to create patterns, actual patterns in the brain that execute on their own. We're just in a point right now where we have to unlearn our old patterns to set those new patterns up. So the one tip I really want to give you is to reward as many of the little behaviors as you can. And I mean just with good old-fashioned attaboys. So one of the things that we did was we piloted our system. And I think many of you heard Michelle, if you were on our Diamond call, she talked about how we piloted our system. And what we did was we set up an accountability Facebook group that you had to ask to get into. So it was really interesting. At first, she was like, I feel like I want this person in and this person in and this person in. And I said, well, do they want to be in? We need to get them to want to be in first. So the first commitment they have to make is they have to make their own commitment to be a part of this pilot group. So I'm all for selling it, and we did. And we had a call, and we were driving interest. We were driving casting vision about what this could mean to their business. But we actually said, hey, what you have to do is you have to apply for entry. You have to send an email saying what your goals are, you know, what your direction is that you want to head, what you want to do in the next period of time. And you have to be willing every day to post in this group. So it wasn't one of those things that you're going to be able to go in and just kind of be a passive observer. You had to commit to the activity. And we made it clear, this isn't for everyone. And it's okay, because we're going to open this group back up in another 30 days or 90 days or what have you. But you want to be working with people who are ready versus trying to turn people into people who are ready. So the best analogy that I've ever thought in my own head was like, it's like a garden, right? So many leaders have so many green tomatoes in their garden, and they're waiting for those tomatoes to turn red, you know? And it's the same thing with prospects, you know? Think of those people as green tomatoes. You can't talk a tomato into ripening. You know, you can't wait for a tomato to ripen either. You've got to just keep planting new tomatoes, and you've got to walk up and down the garden, and you pick the right ones. You will get much further when you are planting more tomatoes and you are working with the right people. And so we put this accountability group together, and what we did was once a day, we just went in and said, hey, it's Thursday, January whatever, January 17th, maybe put in a little motivational quote, how's it going? And then they were supposed to go in, find the daily post, and then post in there. I have sent out X amount of scripts today. You know, I sent scripts to 10 people today. I'm waiting. I sent scripts to 5 people today. I'm waiting. I sent scripts to 3, you know, and then they would go back in and they would post their results. And so the reason this was so important was because people learn better socially. It's true. People learn better socially. They are learning from each other. So like if you're sitting in there and you're watching Gloria, and God bless her heart, right? You're like, Gloria's like, I sent out 1 script today, you know, and you're watching Gloria, you're like, girl, you got to step that up, right? They're learning from each other. Like, oh, Gloria's not going to get the results she's looking for with just 1 text a day. And look at Sally. Sally's got like, she's sending out 10 and she's already, you know, replicated silver. So it's really important that they see each other working. And then what we did was we went in on every single post and we add-a-girled them. They were all women. So it was like, oh my gosh, well done, keep going. That's excellent. And it was, the work was making each of those comments unique, right? So we didn't just go, good job, good job, good job. We actually changed the comments so that it didn't look like we were just copying and pasting. Like we actually used the person's name. Sally, you're doing a great job. Keep it going. Sarah, excellent work. You're gonna, you know, you're gonna do great. This is what it takes. So we did a lot of this is the work, right? We were validating. This is the work. So they would see like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Sometimes people just want to know, like, this is as hard as it's going to get. This is as hard as it's going to get. If you can do this level of work, you have what it takes. And that's really meaningful for them. And so then we would ask people after a while when people were like, people aren't calling me back. You know, we're like, that's okay. And then we could start asking questions, right? So if you're supposed to send, you know, 10 a day and you're not getting people responding back, then the first question is, well, how many did you send? Right? So that was the first question. And then we might ask, did you send them all individually? Because what happened was a lot of people were sending like group texts, or they were posting something on social media and waiting for people to reply. And that's not what we're talking about here. And then we might ask, what are you saying? Like, tell me what you're texting. And this is the only thing you have to be careful of. You have to always be careful to give positive feedback without giving negative feedback. So as leaders, we can talk frankly with each other and we're receptive and what have you. But with people that are struggling to learn something, you always want to keep them in their creative brain. And the minute they feel defensive or they feel wrong or they feel upset or challenged, they can no longer think creatively. I hope that makes sense. So even if you see some stuff and that you're like, holy cow, I don't know where they learned that, but now I know what they're struggling, right? You want to go, you know what? I love your heart in that message, and I love the direction that you're going. Are you open to just modifying that a little bit, right? And then you just copy and paste something that, like, this is something that I've been using. It's really simple. I'm trying to just stick to what, the company says we should do or what has been working, and give them that to do. And then try this 3 times right now and let me know what kind of response you are getting. And then it becomes a group thing and it becomes a lot of fun. And people are so under-acknowledged in our world today. And you can just really be a blessing to somebody by just validating their effort opposed to focusing on their outcomes. So I hope that makes sense. What else? I think that's all of my main, there's not a lot. You guys have so much right. Like, you have so much right. Small amounts of tweaking are going to be huge for your business because you all are doing so much right. Can I answer any questions? Maybe I should do a little Q&A.
Yeah, does anybody have a question?
Question,
I'd like to ask. We've got all of our top leaders on this team. I know there's some of you that have got to have a question for her. So
Genevieve, this is Andrea Mitchell. What do you think is the timeline for habit change on this? I think this is a huge habit change for, a 5-year-old team. What do you feel like do you think it's a 90-day habit change, or do you think it's longer for our teams to really grasp this and really run with it? Because it's a new script, it's a new way of thinking, it's all new. So for some of them that have been doing it, this rut for 5 years, what do you feel like is kind of the timeline on the change?
I think you are going to see change, small changes immediately. You will see what starts to look like exponential growth in 3 months, because you'll have this compounding effect. Now, there are things you can do to speed that up. So the first thing you can do to speed that up is you can definitely be like the keeper of the system. So the more people try to change things, the more you just kind of gently bring them back into the system. So that will increase things. What will also increase things, like in such a huge way, ladies, is bringing new people on board. So when you bring new people on board who do not have to unlearn behaviors, those folks are going to be the evidence that your new people need, that like they should just be doing this instead. Because you know how it goes. You bring somebody in and you're like, oh my gosh, Gloria is, did me +3. Congratulations, Gloria. She's got, $422 as of today. Then people are going to go, what is Gloria doing? And it's like, well, she's, Gloria gets on your call and she goes, you guys, I just did the me +3. And I had everybody sign, and it just builds their belief faster. So if you can infuse your business with brand new people right away, and I mean people that want to build a business, that will exponentially help speed things up, because those new people don't have bad habits, and those new people infuse life and energy into everybody else's business.
Okay, then I have a question then, Genevieve. How in your past have you best been able to identify somebody who ended up being a leader or runner on your team? Like, people always say, gosh, I just wish I could find someone who wanted the business like I did, or who was willing to put in the work like I did. How did you, or would you recommend this team identifies those people in their sphere of influence?
So the first thing is, you attract what you are. That is so true. And it's one of the things I hated about this business. I'm not going to lie. You know, there are times that you're like, you know what? I just don't feel like hustling this month. And when you don't feel like hustling, you do not attract hustlers. Like, it's just the craziest thing. It's crazy. I'm kind of like, you know, I'm going to take a vacation. And I would set it up so that nobody knew I was taking a
It's
vacation.
10:45.
My whole team, it's like, it's weird. There's like this osmosis thing. So the first thing is if you want to attract a runner, you have to be a runner. And here's why. Because runners want to run with other runners. So if I'm creating a commotion and I'm like, this is going to be fun, do it with me, they will join you. If you set it up so that you're spectating and they're running, that's hard. So the first thing is you've got to be in running mode yourself. That's the first thing. The second thing, and it doesn't even matter how successful you are, you guys, because I know you all have a lot of success already. But if you're a runner, you want to run with other folks. You want to runners pace with other runners. Okay, so that's psychologically, you have to create an environment that's conducive to runners. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to be advertising for them. So one of the first things that we did was we were just always, when a new person, so I led with the business. I led with the business because I felt like people were more invested in the product if they knew I wasn't trying to sell them a product. So a lot of times I would say, hey, Roz, I'm doing this new thing. It's crazy awesome. I can't believe the success people are having. And here's the deal. You and I are working way too hard. I'm trying to find a group of friends who want to climb this ladder with me. And it's all based on this product. So if you have a reason to consider making some income, let's talk. But try this as well because it's built around this product, right? So now I have an invested interest in liking the product, first of all. Secondly, if you don't want the business, you're probably going to like the product. So I at least have a customer or an ambassador who's using the product. And thirdly, you didn't feel like I was trying to sell a product to you because I was leading with the business. So I actively always looked for folks that I led with the business. Now, when you join, so Erin, if you joined, I'd be like, all right, so you want to make some money, right? You're serious about this? I am. Great. We got to get your key people in a room. And we got to talk to them about this as a business. And then we're going to get those women on board. You put me in front of your folks, I'll do the pitching, right? So it's just kind of like get your key people on board. Let's start off by getting you a team. Like, listen, I was making first level managers like in the first week they were in the business. Because here's what I knew. I knew you were more likely to stay if you had a team, retention. Secondly, I knew you could not be a prophet in your own hometown, so I was willing to recruit for you. And thirdly, you and your 9,000 contacts were people I wanted to get in front of. So one of the key misses for a lot of folks when they talk about like, I'm out of contacts, I'm like, you should never be out of contacts if you're recruiting new people. You should be talking to their circle for them, right? And if it's just a matter of like, hey, I'm going to work with you, that's cool. I like to get in front of people and share the vision personally because I think it's an unbelievable experience and I think people connect better live. So I'd be like, get your friends on a call. Just find out if they have any interest in making some more money this year. And if they do, let's get them on a call. And like, you're responsible for getting them on the call. I will get them in the business for you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So then what would happen is, so now Erin comes in and she goes, I got this friend Amber, I've got Ashley, and I've got Rhonda, and they all say yes. And then guess what we're going to do? Hey, Amber, we need to get on a call with 3 of your friends. Hey, Ashley, we need to get on a call, right? That became the work to create the the business momentum. So I led with the business, and then I led with the vision of what I was looking for. Does that make, so it's kind of, if you're fishing, then what has to be on the end of that hook is something that attracts a runner, which is going to be a different bait than something that attracts somebody who's, who product is easy sell to me, because all you have to do is look through your social media stream for people complaining about not sleeping, not feeling good, not feeling great. It's like, you could do that with your eyes closed, right? But if you want runners, you absolutely need to lead with the vision that, you know what, something cool is happening. Now's a great time. May not be a fit for you, but I'm asking everybody I know and love. You could be good at this, but ultimately the decision is yours. Are you open to checking it out?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. They're usually, by the way, scary. They're usually on your chicken list, by the way. They're usually very busy. And they're usually people that you think there's no way on earth they would be interested in this.
Exactly. I think we can all point to people on our team that we can very well say, I never thought they would do this. And then they end up being one of your biggest running partners. So yeah. I just want to thank you so much for being with us today. I mean, the chat is just blowing up the entire time you're talking. I'm going to be re-listening to this and writing down that script you just shared about the opportunity. It was so natural and made a ton of sense. And I think a lot of times we hear this stuff from a stage or whatnot, but the layers you're putting underneath it is really helping us understand, okay, we know we need to do that, but why do we need to do that? And you've given us that. So I just want to thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for time's sake, because a lot of people hopped on here during their lunch break. So thank you from the Power team. And do you have any last little thoughts?
You guys, you can do it. This is your year. Seriously, totally. I've taken a photographic picture of all of you and for you. Thanks so much, Roz.
Thank you so much, y'all. And everybody have a great day. I'm going to go ahead and record. This has been recorded, y'all, and I'll go ahead and post it to our page, and you can share it with your folks. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.